Greetings. This is Skyler Saunders seeing what's current. As you can see, I had the same shirt on I had on yesterday. That's how you do it sometimes. I was in the Corps. You wear the same shirt 3, 4 days in a row sometimes, depending on whatever circumstances you're in. But I just wanted to wear this again, rock it one more time. But I got the different hat, USMC, United States Marine Corps, Uncle Sam's Misguided Children, as you can see. So get used to it. So I just want to say happy Veterans Day. This is one of my favorite holidays. This is the holiday you can celebrate your service. It may be bittersweet. It may be, you still going through tough times. You still may be having troubles. But the point is that you have, if you're fortunate, you have a support system. You have enough, drugs in your system. Prescribed drugs from, the VA or whoever may be your provider, and that you're okay as long as you're okay. If you're a veteran, that's what I'm talking to right now. If you're a veteran and you come back and you're bitter and you're disillusioned and you're not sure, what to do with yourself, and you're looking, at a bottle, or you're looking at pills, or you're looking at heroin or powder or something like that, you don't have to go that route. You can. I'm not denying anyone. I believe that all drugs should be legal, but I don't like those sad stories. It was like, oh, I was, depressed and I had to look towards, some Jack Daniels to get me through the day. It doesn't have to be that way. You can rise above that. I mean, it's just for me. I guess it could be a genetic thing in certain circumstances. Some situations, people are addicted to alcohol, addicted to caffeine, addicted to nicotine, addicted to whatever vice, heroin, opioids, whatever it may be, cocaine. Doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be. There's so many centers. There's so many. That's the beauty of the capitalist system. That in the future, if drugs are legalized, there'll be so many rehab centers that'll pop up all over the land that will be profit, driven, and have the best quality care to prevent you from, doing the worst. Doing yourself in, unaliving yourself, as they call it nowadays. Um, so that I just wanted to get a little heavy handed at the beginning so I can get a little lighter towards the end. But happy Veterans Day. It's a weird time period with Memorial Day. Memorial Day is a very strange day because it's all about looking at all those that their lives were taken from them. They didn't lose their lives. Their lives were taken from them in battle. And those are the ones we have to remember. That's why it's called Memorial Day. And I said this in an article I wrote, talking about Israelis, but way before October 7th. And I was saying how they have Remembrance Day for those fallen in war, and they have Remembrance Day for the Holocaust. There's a siren that sounds. They literally stop traffic, get out of their cars, and stand at attention until the siren stops. We don't do that. We have mattress sales for Memorial Day. It's the beginning of the so-called unofficial start of the summer season. It's a day to go to the beach. It's different for today. Different for Veterans Day. Veterans Day, you get to have that ability. If you have access to the beach and it's warm enough, you can go. But it's more promoted because it's like veterans are alive. You're able to celebrate the fact that you were able to come back from whatever circumstances you were in. Either you were deployed or not deployed, like myself. I was just stateside. And people, make that distinction. They say, "Oh, you don't have a physical malady or condition. You must be a coward or something like that." And you had to have your arms blown off or your face disfigured or something like that. Then okay, now you're a true vet. It's like, as ridiculous and stupid and backwards as that is. Anyone who says that or has those sentiments, they don't know the real meaning of a veteran. A veteran is anyone who served their country, served for themselves, serve for their family, serve for their state, serve for all of that, but mainly they serve for themselves. That's what they sell you on, so that's what you should be able to say. They say, "Oh man, you can go to school. You go around the world. You'll get money. You'll get girls will be after you. All that's nice and cool for the recruiter. But once you get to the boot camp, they try to tell you a different story. It's all about selflessness, unselfishness, self-sacrifice, all that, all that nonsense that I was talking about yesterday. I'm not going to get too far into it. I'm going to get into the fun stuff of Veterans Day, because when you're a veteran, you'll get perks, lots of perks, and it's great because the Marine Corps birthday is the day right before Veterans Day. It goes 10 and 11, boom, bang, bang, boom, just like that. So it's very accommodating, and it's very beneficial to anyone who is a veteran, especially a Marine veteran. But other branches get perks too on this day, on Veterans Day, 11/11. You're able to go to Applebee's and have a date night and get some Oreos. I'm not going to say any rest of the song, get a copyright strike. But you can go to Texas Roadhouse, Chili's, Redner's, all kinds of different corporations, Home Depot, Lowe's, all kinds of different stores and everything. You get just discounts, you get freebies, you get everything. I was just walking into a Home Depot, and there was a father and son outside, and they handed out little envelopes, and one of them had a $10 gift card for Chick-fil-A. I was gonna stay in the car. I wasn't even gonna get out, but I just happened to see that. My dad, who was a minister, he has faith. He said, those are the angels. Of course, I said, ha ha ha, not really. And then we just kept it moving because we don't want to argue. But of course, there's no angels. It was just happenstance. It was just a freak occurrence, a very good omen, I guess you can say, a good sign that people still have, benevolence. That's what it's about. It's all about benevolence and people being good, people being kind and generous and stuff like that to one another. So that's what really makes it very powerful, even just to see people that give a damn. That's the title of the show. Why it's why everyone should give a damn about Veterans Day. Why should you care as a civilian all your life, not just I was a vet or I am a vet, but now I'm a civilian. I'm living a civilian life. I'll always be a vet, but I'm just talking about straight up never served. Maybe there was a veteran in your family, an uncle, an aunt, a sister, a brother, somebody like that. Maybe even your offspring, your daughter, your son could be veterans. Why the hell should you care about them for their service? You care about them for them being your offspring, your father, your mother, your cousin, your niece, your nephew, your son or daughter. Why should you care about their service? Well, because without just imagine, just take a second. Take a second. Remove all the branches of the United States Armed Forces. Just remove Army, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, all of that. Remove them. See what would happen in just a few days' time if we just dismantled and defunded the military. Just imagine that. Just take a picture in your mind of what it would be like if we weren't guarded by these branches of the military service. While we're not the strongest military service in the world. I know China has more, but we have more with less, just like the Marine Corps. Marine Corps only has less than 500,000, I think, maybe even in the 250,000 range of people that have enlisted or have been commissioned officers amongst the ranks of the Marines. But you say you want to say you don't want them anymore. You don't want the Army. You don't want the Air Force. You don't want the Navy. You don't want the Coast Guard. You don't want the Marine Corps. You don't want the Space Force. That's that. Just think about it. I'm just gonna let you think about it. I'm gonna let you consider and paint the picture of what America would look like. Just imagine in your mind. Just close your eyes for 10 seconds and envision what this world would look like, what this United States of America would look like without the armed forces. So it's a great day. It was a great day outside today, especially. We had weather that was very, you know, very conducive to being outside and going to different places. It's not rainy. It's clear skies. It's cool, but it's not cold. It's not too warm. You can wear a hoodie or a light jacket. It's very nice. It's very nice. And United States in Delaware. That's what I was saying. Where I am in Newark, Delaware. It's very nice. Um, but everything that has transpired over the years, the decades since this country was founded, it's all been because of the United States military. That's the protection. That's the when there's lunatics and horrible monsters that want to fly jet planes into office buildings. That that's what when you have to call. They say America doesn't call 911 for 9/11. They call it 0311. That's the infantry for the United States Marine Corps. You know, that's what I'm talking about. That's the reason why we have to have the ability to thank veterans. I thank my fellow veterans. It's not. It's about me. Like it's all about me. But I don't neglect other people because it's justice. That's justice. That's they deserve it. They earned it. He gonna say, okay, Greg Ass gonna say, thank you for your service. I guess. Have you noticed the new goal there, sir? There's a new goal. He says, just kidding, just kidding. I know. Greg S is a good dude. He's an alleged broke ass nigga, but he's a good dude. He's never given me one single. Uh, he's never given me a single. No, he's giving strippers more singles than myself. He says he lives in a park. Broke is a joke. Yeah, but he's using a phone. He has a plan. He has to eat. He has to drink. He has to have some kind of housing. But he's broke. Okay, there's different levels of broke, I guess. He tricked off all the dough. Okay. So Veterans Day is a wonderful day. It's such a great day to celebrate. That's what it is. It's a celebration. It's it's similar to Fourth of July, a birthday party for America, the noblest nation ever devised by human beings. Then you have Veterans Day. Veterans Day is so much better, to have those mattress sales in the car, get a truck, discount if you're military or something like that. That's beautiful. That's great because you're back to life. You're back to reality. Um, I can't say anymore. I'll get a copyright strike. But yeah, you're back to the civilian world. It's sometimes it's hard to adapt. Sometimes hard to transition. It took me a few months, few years to really get a grasp on it, and I still went crazy. I went crazier, and so I pick up my deposits every month. Most of them tax free. My disability is tax free. My Social Security is still taxes, but that's okay. Um, they get taxed on Medicare. That's the only tax I have. Period. Unless I go to Maryland, I get a consumption tax. But I don't have any shopping taxes. No, it's tax free shopping in Delaware. It's beautiful. So I can go to various places and still be recognized as someone that has a grip on what I am and who I am. Greg asks, I'm gonna let him answer this question because if he has good questions, I'm gonna answer him. But if he doesn't, I just forget about him. But he actually has a decent question now. He asks, "How long were you in?" I was in for a year and 6 months, exactly a year and a half, from 25 September 2007 to 30 March 2009. That's how long. He asks, "Is your disability from being in the military, or were you born with it?" From being in the military. It's all military connected. All military connected. Service connected is what they say. Service connected disability. And if he continues to ask questions, I can answer him. But I'm gonna continue to talk while he conjures up, his questions. Um, no, it's so wonderful. It really is great how we're able to take this time. This is, and especially around the time of Thanksgiving, it has that flavor to it as well. So much to be thankful for. I think everyone should be thankful for the military, the armed forces of the United States of America. We're the biggest, baddest, boldest, you know what, on the planet. Like I said, China may have more, personnel in the military, but we have better. We can just beat them, like without even flinching. We lose wars because of stupidity. We lose wars because of appeasement and altruism. They put us in stupid situations. Iraq, what was that? To protect oil fields, yeah. So we protected the oil fields. And do we have those oil fields now? No. Was it about the weapons of mass destruction? Did we find a firecracker, as the late great Paul Mooney said? No. So how many people had to die for that? Over 5,000, I think, and tens of thousands more injured or wounded in battle. Afghanistan. Well, okay. You kind of say, well, Al Qaeda was hiding right after 9/11, and we had to go in. We went in on October 7th. You can believe that. But this was 2001, of course. We have to be sure of our dates. So 2001, we went in. Didn't really find them. Didn't really say. We went on patrols. We hit a lot of places. We mostly do a lot of damage and a lot of work. We put in, even in Vietnam. We killed millions of people. And we lost maybe, what was it, 68,000, something like that. Let me make 100% sure. I want to make 100% sure, because that's very serious. It's very serious. I'm trying to see what it is. Yeah. So about 58,220 U.S. military fatal casualties of Vietnam. For what? Over what? Did they attack us? Did they fight against us? Do we have any selfish interest in fighting that war? I say no. I said we had altruism. I said we had selflessness, evil that perpetuated that war, and so many wars after that. Afghanistan, Iraq, all those. They should be all lumped together. How horrifying and vicious they were. I mean, war itself is vicious, but if you have a good cause and you have a right, mind frame and a direct plan of action, then it is justified. And of course, there will be horrors and wars. There will be men, women, and children that will die. Hasn't been a war in all of human history where women and children haven't died, and quote unquote innocent men. It's no war you can speak of where that has ever happened in all of human history. Okay, I'm going to read Greg S.'s very essay-like contribution to the show. I think if Americans truly thought about why we were in Afghanistan and Iraq, we would have a violent revolution. If you think about it, we could have invested in Venezuela to make their oil viable. I disagree with what you said. I don't think they would have a violent revolution. I think there would just be a divert. We would divert our attention. Not to mention lives. Of course, lives lost. That's the first thing you think of. But as far as Venezuela goes, they're a completely basket case country, and we wouldn't even have to deal with them. They wouldn't have anything to deal with us. They have some of the largest oil reserves, more so than Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. But Afghanistan and Iraq, they represent a beautiful soul. Ha ha ha! Salute. I always say beautiful. A bountiful soul. Excuse me. Salute. Thank you. So bountiful soul is in the building. We have a female. Let's respect the house. We have a lady in the house. We have her. Just like when Chelsea was in the house, you have to respect her when she comes in. All right, so Veterans Day, wonderful day. I woke up, got coffee and a biscuit with sausage and gravy, and a what do they call them? Smoothie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much about a bountiful soul. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Now, if you could just chip in a few dollars for a fellow veteran, we're coming hat in hand. I kid. I'm not gonna. I never beg for money, but I do stick people up. I stick people up. Corner them at the bank account and say, look, it's time for you to run that card. But I'm cool. It's Veterans Day. I get a lot of freebies today anyway, so I'm not spending money today. I'm about to go to either Chili's or Applebee's. That could be my question for today. I'm gonna start a Q&A. Sure. Should I go to Chili's or Applebee's? Okay, Greg is saying, hold on. Greg is saying, just imagine if the funds used to wage war were instead used to get Venezuela to act right. Is what I'm saying. I might have to agree with Greg S on that. Now that he clarified, but I don't think that is America's role to get nations to act right. We're not policemen of the world. That's what Iraq was. And that was what the various missions were called. The mission to find Taliban and especially Al Qaeda in 2001 was Operation Infinite Justice. They had to change the name to appease the Muslims because part of their religion is part of justice. It's part of finding justice within a holy war. So they had to change the name to Operation Enduring Freedom, whatever the hell that means. I mean, how do you endure freedom if you're trying to keep it within just the United States and our allies? But I understand what you're saying, Greg. I slightly disagree with you. I disagree with you on that level, but I understand where you're coming from, and I respect that you're being, kind of, not trolly today. I appreciate that. I mean, I appreciate when you're trolly. That's sometimes it's funny, but I do appreciate you're being, more intellectual, more thoughtful today. I appreciate that. Now you're gonna probably troll and go backwards and backpedal all you want, but right now I salute you. I salute you, sir. But yeah, so get us out of stupid sacrificial wars. Get us out of selfless wars. There, there would be veterans. There will always be veterans. As long as there's the United States of America, there will always be veterans. There will always be men and women who answer the call. We were one of the first examples. The Gulf War was the first example of being, completely, conscription free for the most part. You still have to sign up for civil services by the time you're 18, and you could still be activated. So it was still kind of like there's still a little bit of a. It's kind of like the weed. It's kind of like marijuana. You got to have a card. You can get all the marijuana you want, but you still got to have a card. You still have to have in certain locations. You still have to have a medical card. You still have to have an ID. I think it's 21 and older. And I could be wrong. It could be 18, but I think it's 21 and older. And it's not legal across the globe, across the board, across the country. It's only in certain states. So it's kind of like that. Conscription is like somewhat. It's like, of course, it's an all voluntary force now. But if something were, really catastrophic to happen beyond 9/11 or something like that, they would probably reactivate the draft. And that would be completely vicious. That would be completely evil. Israel has a draft. That's evil. And that's a good country. That's a proper, for the most part, rights respecting, nation that deserves its land, that deserves its placement within West Asia, and that's the proper way to say that. There's veterans of that war. I mean, what do we say with? I think Veterans Day is not just in the United States. It's Veterans Day. It's all over the world. They wear the poppies. That's one thing around the world. They wear poppies. That symbolize, the service that men and women have shown throughout their journey in the military. So I'm looking at my question now. Has anybody answered it? No, nobody answered it. I got my question just in case y'all want to chime in. All right, now Greg S is really going off the rails. Israel, for the most part, like I said, respects rights. It is like it's similar to America for the most part. Especially with regard to its neighbors, who are vicious, who are autocratic, who are totalitarian, who want to kill people. They said queers for Palestine and queers for Hamas. Yeah, okay, until they get you to the top of a building and push you off of it because you're gay or you're lesbian or bisexual or queer or transgender. Everybody's for Palestine. Yeah, they're just trying to get their land. Israel's been oppressing them for so many years. Oh my God, what Palestine been doing? They've been voting in people like Hamas. And it's part of America's fault. This is democracy in the Middle East. President George W. Bush made sure they had elections. And what did they do? They voted Hamas in. And what did Hamas do? They grew power through Iran. And what happened? On October 7, 2023, they had a raid and one of the worst terrorist attacks in all of human history, especially Israeli history. So don't come in here saying Israel doesn't respect rights. I'll get you straight. I'll get you straightened. I know. You know what? I just saw it too. I don't know what's going on. Bountiful Soul. I don't know what. It could be because people are coming in. She asked, "What's up with your Wi-Fi connection?" I don't know. I was frozen. That's the first time I've seen that. I get why people say it now. I haven't noticed it before, but if it continues, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. The best way I can troubleshoot and get it going. Let me know every time it malfunctions, because I want to make sure I get the best show. Give you the best show and best clarity. Yeah. So I'll say veterans for Israel, veterans for England, veterans for Canada, veterans for Australia, all our allies, everybody, Japan, Germany, everybody that we fought against, and now they're our best buddies and friends. Italy, you know, that's what's amazing about war and life, and how it's like, okay, God, it's like whack-a-mole. It's just like whack-a-mole. We whack-a-mole against Japan and Germany in World War II, and a little bit of Italy because they weren't that hardcore. It was just Mussolini mainly, trying to, getting crazy. I can't answer your question on mobile. Oh, that sucks. Daggone it. All right. Bountiful Soul, can you answer the question? Do you have a mobile device, or are you on a desktop? If you're on a desktop, I'll just get rid of the question. Can you even read it, Greg S? I know you can't answer it, but can you read it? You can just tell me. You don't have to answer it on the actual tab. You can just tell me yes or no. So, with all the different countries and nations, and we're in war right now. It's like we're getting ready. We're gearing up. We're gearing up. It doesn't look. I was listening to Dr. Yaron Brooks show, and he's not seriously worried about Hamas. Hamas can be destroyed in just a few strikes, and that will be the end of them. We just level them, and they'll be done. The real opponent is the mirror. When America looks itself in the mirror. Okay, you can't read. So what do you think? What do you say? Yes or no, Greg S? So the real challenge that we face is not Hamas, it's not Al Qaeda, it's not even Iran or Saudi Arabia, which is supposed to be our ally, but it's really not. It's ourselves. It's America itself, the United States of America, and our allies, especially Israel, especially Ukraine. We're so enamored by the ideas of sacrifice and selflessness and altruism and appeasement. That's the reason why we can't fight. And I said this before, on the 23rd of October, they came in peace, they said, the Marines of Beirut. What did America do? Nothing. It was in February. The first bombing of the World Trade Center in New York City that killed 6 people. What did America do? Nothing. Greg, you say yes. It's not a yes or no question. He said yes. I'm asking, should I go to Chili's or Applebee's? And he gonna say yes. Now he's trolling. He's trolling, definitely. He's definitely trolling hard. No, but it's our own selves. That's who we have to look at in the mirror. Do we want to be decisive, selfish, powerful, intelligent, intellectual, thoughtful, mighty, and swift? Or do we want to cower? Do we want to drag our feet? Do we want to say maybe, kinda, sorta? Do we want to give alms to our enemy? Okay. I'm going to Chili's. Okay, so I think about Chili's. That's one Chili's. That's one for Chili's. I'm gonna try to see how many I get. But see, do we kind of got it sort of a little bit, mealy mouth, sideways, kind of, or do we stand tall? Do we stand up to our enemies and crush them? This is why probably my favorite general of all time is William Tecumseh Sherman, because he had the idea of war is hell, and he had casualties on his side. There was casualties on the Confederacy. He was in the Union Army. He was in the North, and he has his March to the Sea is his most famous campaign. Please leave, because I'm about to burn this you know what down. I'm about to set fire to all of this. All of this is about to go up in flames. Okay? So you can stay here if you want to, but I'm about to set all this stuff ablaze. And he did. He set Atlanta on fire. He took they call them Sherman ties. They take they heat the rails of well, I say the titty bar too, but they don't really give out a lot of free stuff around the time. It's not like free, lap dances and stuff like that for Veterans Day. I don't think. Maybe somewhere in America, there's a titty bar that gives you free lap dances for Veterans Day. I don't know. I never heard of such, but maybe there are. But seriously, I'm trying to be serious here. Greg's got some, he's a funny guy. He's a real funny guy, But no, it's like you can't have it mealy mouthed. You can't have it weak. You can't be kind of feeble a little bit. Give the opponent some water and food. No, to Major General William Tecumseh Sherman at the time of his fighting, he was promoted to, I think, lieutenant general later on in life, and was ahead of something else. I can't remember exactly, but regardless, he was one of the finest generals in American history because he knew that war was terrible. He said it way before the war even started. He said, "You don't know what you're doing." South Carolina seceded from the Union and wanted to have its own confederacy. And he said, point blank, "You don't know what you're doing." He said, "Hardly a ball of yarn can you produce. Can you even produce a pair of shoes? Like, we are the most, well-built, well-furnished, well-oiled machine in all of history, the North and the United States of America in the 19th century. You don't want to contend with us because the South was agrarian. It was mainly about, the plants and living off of the ground and stuff like that. It didn't have a highly developed industrial scene as compared to the North. So he knew all this way before all the fighting. It's sad that his letter, I don't remember who it was even addressed to. It was a higher up. The letter was addressed to a higher up, and it was our most costly war. Hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of just combatants. I'm gonna see how many. And see, look here we go. A specific figure of 618,222 is often cited, with 360,222 Union deaths and 258,000 Confederate deaths, which could have all been prevented. That was a massive amount of people to die, especially given America's dwindling population at that time period. It wasn't close to what we are right now, almost at 350 million people. We're not even. It wasn't even that close in the 19th century. So, just to give you an example, I should respect to him, respect to General Sherman. He was a veteran. And there's so many more. General Patton, he had really great ideas and really great tactics. He was of course criticized for slapping a soldier, and we get that. Okay, so it doesn't make him a terrible human being. He was just very passionate at that time period, thinking about all the other men that had lost limbs and the ones that had perished in the fighting. He was just very passionate about this young soldier. He was just like saying, snap out of it. He was like, it's not, you're not in such a terrible way. And especially at that time period, it was a totally different kind of idea. I think they still had the idea of shell shock. He was just like the shelling, it's portrayed in the movie Patton, excellent film. But he was just addressing the young man. He was addressing the soldier, and he was just letting him know that it's not proper to crack up in front of all these men who have given their arms, their legs, the part of their face, their burn marks, and all kinds of results of war. And that was a totally different era. Now we have it went from various stages. It was shell shock, 2 syllables, really short, really to the point. Then it was I think I'm trying to remember World War II. I think it still was shell shock. World War One was definitely shell shock. Then Korea was operational exhaustion, which in Carlin joked, the late great George Carlin joked, it sounds like something that would happen to your car. Operational exhaustion. And then you get to the Vietnam era, and that was when PTSD first started, post-traumatic stress disorder, and it bled into, almost not literally, but it seeped into the first Gulf War. That's when it really started. That's when it really started to take off because people saw some very vicious things. As much as it was a small amount of fighting, there was still a amount of getting involved in various missions that looked at people that were completely decimated, completely destroyed by chemical warfare and things of that nature. So it continues to this day. PTSD. People say that's the injury you can't see. Some wounds you can't see, like bipolar disorder. I never was deployed. I never got into combat. You can hate me now. I was a trigger puller. I pulled triggers, but I didn't fire in anger. So if you want to hate me, please. Please hate me. I need your hatred. I really do need that. I need that, extra kick in the pants. So I appreciate whatever they do. Because I can still enjoy my Veterans Day because I put in time, put in enough work. A year and a half may seem like a short stint, but it was a worth it stint. It was worth it. It was well worth it. Every moment I was in the Corps, in the Marine Corps, I should say, because the Marines, it was fantastic. It was like I said this yesterday. It was like running at 200 miles per hour. It was you had to make sure everything was straight. You had to make sure your uniform was all right. Got everything like that. Here's a question from Greg S. So how did you get disabled if you weren't in combat? Well, because of the behavior I exhibited. I exhibited manic depressive behaviors. That's what happened. I had a manic episode at a Navy medical center, and they categorized me. I had nothing to do with it. I was going to keep going. They booted my ass out. And I was like, shit, I'm going to get this money regardless. If you want me out of here, okay. I'm going to see how much money I can get out of you. And I stuck the government up. I'm still sticking them up for, dollars. That's what I'm doing right now. That's how it is. So they stuck a needle in my arm, shipped me from Arizona to California. I had a beautiful time out there. It was like when I was after my time in the actual psychiatric ward and the booby hatch and the nut hut and the cuckoo's nest and the puzzle factory. There's so many different names. We can go on, but after that, I was free to go. I went to a Tyler Perry play. I went to a Lil Wayne concert. Went to multiple DAV dinners. I had a Thanksgiving dinner with a wonderful white family. had to put the white in there, but they're beautiful. They're great people. They're good people. I hope they're around. That was 15 years ago. I'm stretching it. I hope they're around. They were good people. I have no contact with them whatsoever. I didn't write down their name or anything like that. I have no contact with them, but they were, they're precious souls. They were very good people. There was a sexy Navy chick. Oh my gosh, she was my friend on Facebook, but I had spazzed. She got rid of me on Facebook, so I don't remember her name or her number or nothing. But she was good. She was good people. She was very beautiful, blue black, dark skinned girl. I think she won like city competitions and stuff like that for Miss Beauty. She was beautiful, blue black girl. I remember her. So the military didn't cause it. It's possible it could have just happened even if you weren't in the service, but it was about no, I did not, by the way. I did not clap the cheeks. But about the military service, no, it wasn't, and it was brought on by my military experience. It was brought on by a corporal that I had a disagreement with. So they the docs, the pencil pushers, they all said, okay, he has bipolar disorder. That's definitely an affliction that he has been ascribed. But yeah, so it was beautiful out. San Francisco, San Diego right now is probably, I don't even know what is San Diego right now. San Diego, San Diego, San Diego. It's 74 degrees Fahrenheit right now in San Diego. Right now. Okay? It's about 78 degrees actually. Somewhere in there, 78, 78, 70. In the 70s. That's what you gotta remember. It's in the 70s. I mean, that just the weather. I mean, I was running. I was I froze. Okay. Am I back? All right. So I was running. I ran up this mountain, like these hills. I was amazed at the distinction of the city. I saw a homeless guy on the street. Then I saw for the first time in my entire life a Maybach Benz roll up, and I saw the homeless guy walk the other way. Like it was just a trip. And then I saw, the day of the run, I saw, Bentley, then I saw Lamborghini, Ferrari, back to back to back to back like that. It was an extraordinary experience. But that was at the end of that was part of the end of my experience as a Marine. Um, but it was like a whirlwind. It was fast. It was fun. It was crazy. It was mean. It was boring. It was like the Groundhog Day effect, that was coined, I guess, right after the movie came out. I experienced that to the hilt during my MOS school, Marine Occupational Specialty School. It was like the same thing every day. It was like another Marine next to me. His phone, the alarm would go off. I want to get down there, baby. It was Chris Brown, and Kanye West, or the artist formerly known as Kanye West. Yay. Um, yeah. So that was. I wake up, put on my uniform, get ready. Get ready for my training. We would get in formation, and we would go to chow hall, and then the chow hall, and we go after the chow hall. We go to wherever school we had. Um, yeah. So that was a weird experience during MOS school. Um, but we made it work. I mean, it was just a ragtag kind of a situation. Oh wow, you really want to know a lot about clapping cheeks? What's going on with you, Greg? Honey. You clapping cheeks, Greg S? What you doing? I did not cross TJ or Tijuana and clap some cheeks. I did not. I did not. I almost could have had with the story I had yesterday, but yeah, exactly. You've been there, yeah. And I heard stories. I never seen the banana show. I never saw, the cigarette show or anything like that. Heard about them, pretty much know all about them, but never saw, them up closer in person. Nothing like that. And they don't make a distinction. That's the beautiful part too. They don't say, "Oh, We only care about the deployed veterans. Oh, we don't. We only care about the male veterans and the men veterans and the black veterans or the white veterans or the yellow veterans or the brown or the red veterans. We care about all veterans, all who serve, no matter how long you serve or where you served or how. We care about you. That's what I think is amazing to me. I don't know what my parents would say. I'm probably gonna have to ask them what happened during Vietnam, the Veterans Day, what kind of deals and sales and discounts and freebies there were. Probably very little. But that's the beauty of capitalism and greed. That's the beauty. They said, wait a minute, we can make some money off of this. If we show that we really give a damn and everybody give a damn about the veterans, we can make a pretty penny. We can make a coin. We can make some scratch off of this. Because even though they're giving out freebies, they're giving out, this is like a little hint, tug, hug, hug, wink, wink, kind of action. When it comes to, going to Applebee's or IHOP or Home Depot or Lowe's or anything like that, it's like they're going to be a returning customer most likely. They've done the research, they've done different models and different scales, and they figured it out. They said they're going to come back. They'll be back. They'll be back. Please, they'll be back. So that's what it is. That's what it's like. That's exactly what it's like. It's it's a special kind of way of dealing with being a veteran. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm totally proud of my service. Every day I had to put on that uniform. It was like I was putting on a superhero uniform. It really was. I'm not saying I'm a hero. Oh, I'm a hero. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it felt like it because of the what it represented. That eagle, globe, and anchor. Whatever whenever I put that over my chest, that was a special thing. When I put on my chevrons, that was special to me. I was just a lowly lance corporal, E3, one of the lowest you can possibly be. There's only two lower than you, PFC and private. But I felt like I had more power in my hand than I could ever possibly hold. And that's what we have to continue to do. We have to get into, if we're going to go to war, if we're going to get into some shit, make it some good shit. Make it something that we can actually bite off and chew and have a shit grin, shit eating grin. If we must have that, let it be one where we can grin. Because it's not going to be pretty. No war is pretty. None. I just saw images from Iraq. A man's face was completely demolished. It was an enemy combatant it was completely demolished, gone. That's how horrific and terrible it all is. That's war, and war is hell, and will always be hell. And we have inner fighting. We have fighting. We say, "Oh, Marine Corps is definitely the best," and United States Air Force is probably the worst, or now the Space Force is, and Coast Guard's too scared to go to the Navy, and we just say all this. Army is nothing. They're all fat and nasty. We say all this bullshit, but when we get together, we can have a beer together. We can fight and hug over some stuff. That's just the nature of who we are as veterans. We it's an understanding. It's like it's a vet thing. You wouldn't understand kind of situation. I could even name a vet that's not an American vet. Dr. Yoram Brook. He is in the army, in the Israeli army. He was an engineer. So I say salute to him. Definitely. He didn't even have a choice. He was conscripted. He was drafted in the army. That's where he met his beautiful wife. So it's ridiculous. It's like you have to look at the entire outline of what we are and who we are and what we can do and our abilities and what we represent and everything that goes into it. That's the power of being locked in the idea of being a veteran of war or of an era. I'm a veteran of an era. I'm not a veteran of war, but I'm a veteran of the Iraqi Afghanistan wars era. Um, it 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 really pains me when people don't really understand. Oh, I could never, get into the vet. I could never be a vet. Ha 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 ha. It's like, okay, you couldn't. And I'm looking at some people. I met a guy in a hotel in Nebraska. He was like, I think everybody should go to the military. Everyone should be able to be in the military. I was just like, okay. I didn't say anything. Because I don't know if I would have got really pissed off because I think that is complete nonsense. First of all, that's complete evil. First of all, that is vicious for everyone. Maybe that's why they do that. Maybe that's why people, let their kids have obesity and everything like that. But then they still have the pork chop platoon. So I don't know. It's a weird dynamic of being in the military and getting into the military as well. They kind of want you in, but they don't want you really to be in. Like it's a weird thing. There's different part. He laughs again at the pork chop platoon. It's true. It's true. That's what they call it. Um, uh, it's the physical training platoon or something like that as the real name, but we call it the pork chop platoon. But Gregor says, honestly, unless you were in active combat, you should be called something else, not lesser, but just different. I disagree with you. I disagree with you. If you were anything, if you served, whatever you did, if you worked on a plane, a helicopter, if you worked on a sub, if you worked on anything, if you put in lights, if you chopped up, potatoes, if you whatever service you rendered, and if it was under the banner of the United States Armed Forces, you are a veteran. And I'm saying United States Armed Forces, but I'm talking about veterans around the world, especially our allies. You are veterans as well, no matter what duty you actually had, what performance you had to extend. So I think Greg S is the only one chilling here. Okay, you're stretching. Duty doesn't need a pause. Soon. I'm gonna get this out of here. I'm going to Chili's. You see what's up there on Join Skyler's 50 Club by contributing $50 or more in a month to the broadcast. November member Chelsea with her glasses on. Thank you. Remember that. She dropped a bomb. She dropped money. Yeah, someday. Yeah, someday. Yeah. You talking a lot of shit, but it's not real. I get it. It's everything. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah. Let me hold some. Let me hold some. I got you in like 3 days. When I get paid, I guys gotta get paid, and then I pay you. I got you. I got you. It's a goofy mess like that. Greg asked you, ask her what she dropped. Don't look at me. I don't have to. You should have been there. You should have seen how much she dropped. Think about this. Think about this. If you do context clues and just figure it out on based on mathematics, I'll give you this much. I was able to do double what my previous goal was of $80. So she only and Height dropped $10. So if you do the math, you might be able to do it. How much she dropped? And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not even gonna bring it up anymore. That's all I'm saying. So Veterans Day is definitely a day of celebration. It's something to keep us in line with what goes on in the military and what all the things that go on: suicide, sexual harassment, racism, sexism, all the different things that have happened. It may continue to happen until someone pulls the plugs on irrationality and just stupidity and vicious and vice. Um, then we'll have true understanding of ourselves and what we intend to be as veterans. All right, question time. Greg asked, you seem like you could be the only person here. Maybe I should turn right there. Turn on spam. You want to ask questions? We have way too much time. I might get off because there's only one person in here. Rick James. Rick James is not here. He's not here. I know he is probably, but I'm saying Rick James is not here. Oh, come on, come on. You're so sensitive. You're very sensitive, Greg asks. Very sensitive. So I don't have to fill time. I feel good about what I said. Greg asks, you're the only one here. There's no one else asking questions. I thank you all for chiming in. I thank a bountiful soul. I thank even Greg S for holding me down. And I will see you all, if not Sunday, definitely Monday. Thank you very much. Happy Veterans Day.